It's been a hell of a week. If you were paying attention, you could see the fabric of the once great society just circling the drain. Let's take a look at the top very two happenstances. First, we have the former president of the United States stuck in a courtroom in New York defending himself from a bogus, politically contrived witch hunt designed to do two things: keep him off the campaign trail and siphon off his finances. We have this same former president sending his legal team to the Supreme Court of the United States to defend yet another politically motivated persecution and his right to presidential immunity. And that's for acts that he made while he was the sitting president. You know, the radical left has no problem tearing down the protection from prosecutions for the future commanders-in-chief, relegating them to hollow, feckless figureheads unable to make any bold leadership decisions because they'll be fearing that they'll be held criminally liable after their office. So Joe Biden and his band of angry radicals will stop at nothing to stop Donald Trump. And all this is happening while Joe Biden spent the week embarrassing the United States on the world stage with endless stream of gaffes and gaffes.
Most significant investments in climate ever. The work that you risked your lives doing, lots of it. In a sense, I don't know why we're surprised by Trump. How many times does he have to prove we can't be trusted? Imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Okay, that all happened this week. This is the very same stumbling and bumbling leader that has condemned Israel in the face of the heinous October 7th atrocities. The same one that sanctioned IDF forces and the one that hasn't said boo about the disgraceful anti-Semitic and anti-American protests that are plaguing universities from New York and California to Texas and Georgia. Which brings us to the second highlight. This week, we watched these hate-filled lunatics scream at police and openly support the terror group Hamas. That's the group responsible for rape and beheadings of children and innocent civilians in Israel. We saw Democrat Congressman Ilhan Omar join this hateful protest at Columbia University just a day or so after her radical daughter was arrested at the very same New York City campus. Of course, she was given a platform on MSDNC to try and convince Americans that these terrorist supporters are on the right side of history, and it's Israel that are really the bad guys.
They don't want their parents' money to go in supporting a genocide that they oppose. And so I do believe that history is going to be on their side, and these members who think this is a political opportunity to turn the world against these people who are standing for a morally just right cause are going to be looked at and mocked in history.
It's disgraceful is the only word that comes to mind. You know, the so-called protesters lining the streets, for blocks around the campus, they were taunting the New York City police officers, calling them KKK and pigs, while some confirmed their support for the Hamas terror groups that's backed by and supported by Iran. Anti-Semitic chants, death to America, burning American flags, burning Israeli flags, that's become the norm on many of the campuses and in the streets of far too many cities across the nation. So what has Joe Biden actually done? Has he called the National Guard to protect Jewish students just trying to get to class? Has he condemned the protesters for their hate speech and their intimidation tactics? Has he actually done anything besides scold Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and sanction an IDF unit? No, all right? He hasn't done a damn thing about anything other than mumble and defend the protesters.
Do you condemn the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses?
I condemn the anti-Semitic protests. That's why I've set up a program to deal with that. I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians and how they're being.
Should the Columbia University president resign?
Right this way. I didn't know that. I'll have to find out more about it.
It's so sad, but it's become blatantly obvious. Joe Biden cares more about a handful of radical Muslim votes in Michigan or perhaps Minnesota than he does about the safety of students trying to attain a college degree. I wonder how many of these America-hating punks at some of these elite universities are going to be the beneficiaries of having their school loans forgiven by the big guy. Which really means, by the way, that their loans are going to be paid off by you and me and the American tax dollars. Now, of course, all of this lawfare, anarchy, hatred, it exists against a backdrop of a country mired down in rampant crime, a fentanyl epidemic, massive inflation, a completely open border, the likes of which we've never even seen in our history before. And oh yeah, the threat of nuclear war as the world is literally on fire with threats from Russia and Ukraine to Iran and the Middle East. And that just keeps surging on. But you shouldn't be concerned about that because Joe Biden, the Democrat hacks, the fake news, they'd have you believe that these things, things have actually never been better. And if you listen to good old Joe, the economy has never been stronger. The border's actually secure. Crime is down, and we simply need to show more understanding to the Palestinians. All is right in America and beyond. The overwhelming irony here is that the Democrats have attacked President Trump literally since the day he came down the escalator with the lovely Melania. They're running an entire campaign that he's the threat to democracy. This is happening while they attempt to imprison him after failing to have him removed from the ballot, which I guess is the way they save democracy, right? Put your leading political opponents in jail and or get him banned from running for office. This is the same group of yahoos that want to enact laws making it a crime to misgender someone. But screaming death to the Jews, Israel, death to America, that's fine. Obviously, I must be confused because that isn't hate speech, right? That's not hate speech, right? From the river to the sea, I guess it's a call for love and unity. I guess it all comes down to something very simple and easy to understand. Do what I say, not what I do, and don't believe your eyes and ears. Believe what the swamp wants you to. That Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He destroyed the economy. He opened the border. And he, without a doubt, was most likely to lead us right into World War III, which is why they're justified in bogus lawsuits across the country, attempts to disqualify his candidacy, labeling him a warmonger and blaming him for all of the above. But most importantly, you must not believe the crowds and the overwhelming support that he's receiving even in the bluest of cities like New York City. Don't believe these chants that he's always greeted with.
We love Trump! 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 We love Trump!
Above all else, though, do not believe that millions of people feel that they were better off under President Trump than they are now. And believing Donald Trump is the only candidate in this election that can actually fix what has become a very broken country. Perhaps, and I know this is a novel idea, but maybe we should let the American electorate decide for themselves. And may we actually see Joe Biden hit the stage right next to Trump, accept his challenge to debate? I don't know. Trump said it as only he can today.
I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent.
I am somewhere. I don't know when. I'm happy to debate him.
He said anywhere, anytime, any place. And that's an expression commonly used by fighters, which I dare say is perfectly apropos of Donald J. Trump.